All right, so another thought just popped into my brain. You know how it does. So for this video, I think I'm just going to talk a little bit about the comparison between two separate topics that I think are touchy topics. One is the Cran people. You know, I'm using a different word to replace the other word, but it's so close that you'll realize what it is. So the belief system, especially with the narrative. Now, when I say the Cran people and the transitioning and all that, and the LGB and everything, I don't mean the people that are regular. When I say regular, you're just a regular person. You probably work 9 to 5. You're working hard, trying to do the best that you can to help your family like anybody else. But for all of this craziness that just came out, 2020 on out, and a lot of the younger generation that's buying into it. So that's what I mean. So when I say all this, the narrative and everything like that, that's what I mean. The current situation that we have with stuff affecting children and whatnot. So moving on. So when it comes to that, there's a good comparison between them and, like, basically I would say their belief system or the narrative that they bought into over the fact that, you know, there's many different things that you can identify as, many different genders, gender and sex, two separate things, and there's no such thing as we can't define what a man is, we can't define what a woman is, you know, and it goes on. So I was watching a YouTube video not too long ago about a teacher on TikTok, and she has it's gone viral, and she was talking about how she was talking to one of her kids, her students at school, and they were discussing her friend or something. If I'm not getting this right, somebody link it to something, or somebody do something and figure out where this came from, because I can't find the video right now. But she basically, the child was asking her about the clothing that this individual was wearing, and the teacher went on to say like it's neither boy or girl's clothes, because the kids was asking, is like, what kind of clothes do they wear? Like, what do you mean? Oh, are they boys' clothes or girls' clothes? And she's like, it's neither. And the kid's like trying to figure out like what's going on, but what color is it? And she's like, well, I guess basically like, why does it have to be a color, or what do you mean by boy color or girl color? And the kid's like, you know what color it means. So, and she's like, no, I don't. And the kid's like, this doesn't make sense. And she's like, it doesn't have to make sense. So basically, that's the whole play-by-play of it. And I was just thinking that, you know, if you go into the mall anywhere, if a person ever says like, what do they mean, like gender clothing or gender? If you go into any mall, if you go into any place to shop for anything, you go in there, you walk around in there, you're going to see clothing sections for children, girls, boys, for adults, male, female, or women, men, clear as day. You don't believe in it? Go to any place where you shop for clothes. You're going to see it plain as day and accept it. It is a fact of this reality that we are living in. That's just how it is. Another quick thing is a comparison that I'm going to make, which is kind of touchy as well, simply because, you know, if a person, like basically I'm going to touch on a religion comparison to the trans ideology narrative that's running rampant. So I was thinking, you know, these people really have to, because a lot of people in the comment section of this video, they were like, well, this person, they really have to believe what they're saying. Like, they may be brainwashed and they might really believe it, or they might really know that they're just BSing everybody, and they really need to believe in this, or they really need to act like they believe in it, like it's some sort of religion. I was thinking that's a good comparison between religion and trans ideologies, because I would say personally, religion, I would say faith has definitely helped this past couple years, definitely since 2020. I know it's probably been that way for a lot of people, but I was thinking, at the same time, you cannot be a person of faith and say that you are completely without doubt that there is something more than what it is. There's always going to be a doubt because of how concrete this reality looks. You feel things, you feel the grass, you feel the wind, you feel the concrete stone wall next to you. Yes, it feels as though, okay, this is all that there is. But, things have happened, and it makes you feel like you go through things in your life and you feel like, oh, well, I definitely feel like since I went through this or this happened to me, it's unexplainable. This definitely makes me feel as though there's something more to what we're just seeing on a day-to-day basis. But at the same time, you have to constantly remind yourself of this. And at some point, at some level, it is on par with the fantasy. It is on par with that. But it can be a very healing fantasy for those of us who need, something to help you move through with life. And who knows? It could wind up being true. It could wind up being false. It's completely just based upon the individual that wants to believe whatever they believe. And I think personally, if a person has their own faith and they're not actively pushing it onto anyone else, that's fine, perfectly fine, in your own space. If you want to go to a church, you want to go with other like-minded people, that's fine. You believe in this thing, that's fine. But when you start branching it out to other people, and if they don't agree with what you're saying, what you're doing, then they're just like, no, you have to do, then that becomes on par with a cult religion, or a what's another word for this? Not dogmatic. Militant, I would say, behavior. And there's militant behavior on all sides. Militant atheism, militant agnosticism, militant religious beliefs, militant, racial beliefs, militant sexist beliefs, militant gender ideology. So it's on all sides like that. But I was just thinking, yeah, that's a good comparison. And if you are a person, I'm not sure if I already said this, but if you are a person that has belief system, if you say, oh, I've never had any doubt, you're a liar. I don't care. You are a straight up liar. Everyone doubts things every once in a while. You could go through life being like, no, I don't believe in anything, but I'm a good person. I do the best I can do. I do well for my family. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you don't, as a person, as an individual, as long as you don't start taking it outside yourself and start berating other people, harassing other people because they don't treat you a certain way that you expect to be treated, they don't agree with everything that you say, these things, or you start harming children, you start harming the youngest members of our society, that's when you take it more than too far. You just took it all the way out there, and you need to be stopped. And I think eventually that's going to be something that happens. It may not be today, but it'll definitely be something that has to happen in the future in order for things to get back on track. Like, a lot has been happening, a lot of crazy stuff. And I know for a fact that people in this country, USA, have never had to deal with anything that's that big and this crazy. And unfortunately, it may come to a point where people just have to take it upon themselves and say, you know what? Nobody's coming to help us out. Nobody's coming to stop this. So we're going to just have to do it ourselves. We're going to just have to deal with this. You know, the enforcement of some things, they just have not been enforced to help people. But you know, it's good people out there. It's good situations. People are still generally good from my perspective of looking around day to day and seeing how people act with each other. People are still good. The majority of us want to do the right thing. We want to help each other. We want to be a good person. And we are. It's just the media is a very strong sound, little trumpet horn. And they can really manipulate people. And they know they can, and that's why they're doing it. But in any case, I'm going off the rails here. But that was the main thing, just a comparison between religion and Korean ideologies. That's it.